how does a single person encourage and nurture their desire for church family and for God practically, and sort of say no to worldly desires and efforts and set themselves apart, but avoid just being busy in church? And there's a wrong way of being busy in church.
I do.
Where you're cold and going through the motions. So practically, how do you get caught up in the vision?
Yeah, time is important, not just because you might say, just do lots of things with and for your church family. That is obviously relevant, but I think it's really the first step of it is what you think, like the planning of your life. It's like sometimes I'll talk to people, like even people who claim to be Christian, and they'll be like, well, I'm single because I like doing my own thing. Now, if they're thinking like that and planning their life around just what they want to do in life, they're never really going to fall in love with Jesus and the church family, because they're in love with themselves. And that shows up in the way they plan and the way they think about the resources and what's important to them. So it's not necessarily like you fill every single moment of your time serving your church family. It's more what you're really thinking about as what you're doing with your life. And where do you find where are you at home? Where's your base of life? And it's that, I always think before a person even does start to behave differently, it's good for them to just start to think a little bit differently and think, no, what am I doing with my life? I can't live for myself. That is the fast track to hell. What I'm for is Jesus and this church family that I'm part of. So then I say the first thing to do is just start to look at your church family as these people that you're going to know forever. Look at them differently. Think of them differently. And then your resources, your money, your time, everything. Think of them when you're planning about that. And how about, could I visit that person when I've got Wednesday afternoon off? What am I going to do with that? Well, I could visit John. Yeah, I could do that. And then just it's not like I'm going to use every single moment of my time rushing around. No, that won't do any good either. But it's just that sense of what is my life for? What am I doing with my time and resources and money and energy? Because the more that it's like when Jesus says, where your treasure is, that's where your heart goes. So what you value most, your heart will go to that. That's what you'll end up loving. So you always know, if a person later in life, what do you love? When they tell you, you know what they focused on, what they've valued, because they love it. Same with that. You look at the people as your church family, and then now you say, they are the most valuable. I'm going to think of them more than I think of myself. Then out of that, you can make choices about what am I going to do with Wednesday afternoon, and what am I going to do with my weekend, and things like that. What's important in my life? What am I investing in? Because even if at the beginning you might say, I don't love these people. Yeah, that's because you haven't invested in them. You haven't treasured them. Mm-hmm. When you treasure them, then you'll love them.